All right, what is up, my friends? Welcome to my cube sleeving stream, where I'm going through and sleeving my cube, and we're having fun just hanging out, looking at all my cube cards, and going over all the cards in my cube design philosophies, the Legacy Plus cube, super competitive, super low mana curve, super synergistic. Again, all info on the cube is in the first video, white. If you missed that, all up on YouTube. I go over things a little more in depth. We're about to do Colorless, one of the biggest, the most exciting sections of my cube, and one of the things that my cube supports is a lot of artifact stuff. So not only like the metal worker, worm coil engine kind of artifact stuff, but a whole wide variety of both fast mana artifact stuff, like big stuff, and then aggressive artifact stuff like Arcbound Ravager, Signal Pest, and Friends. Let's jump right in. So first card in the cube that's not in most cubes is Memnite. And Memnite Shyamalan here, very simple card, but if you're an aggressive artifact deck who wants to get things in play, Memnite does it. And obviously, you can play this in your mono red deck or something like that if you're desperate for a creature. But mostly an artifact aggro card. This is your Jackal Pup, where the only deck that really wants this card is the artifact aggro deck. But it is good in that deck for sure. So you got Memnite. We got Bomac Courier. Decided to move things around. This used to be in the red section. I decided to just put it all in the color section, because you can just like splash the activation in your artifact deck too. So we got Bomac Courier, great card. Haven't decided yet if this is going to be a red card or a colorless card for the future, but for now it's a colorless card. So we got Bomac Courier, which is obviously a really, really good card. Ginger Brute, again, not a super powerful card, but good card with equipment, good card in the artifact aggro deck. You kind of get the idea. So a few of these sort of like Jackal Puppy cards, which is cool. Oh, you could definitely lock Loxobots in the cube. Absolutely. Absolutely lock Loxobots in the cube. We got Signal Pest. Same idea. Cheap, good artifact aggro card. Kind of a cool card, though, because you can play this in your White Weenie deck with a bunch of tokens and crap like that. It's still fine, but it's also good in artifact stuff, too, which is kind of nice. So that's Signal Pest. That's your kind of cheap artifact 1-drops. And moving on to our 2-drops. Arcbound Ravager. Again, a card you'll never see in most cubes, but in a cube full of artifact stuff, artifact lands, very easy for Arcbound Ravager to be as good as it is in Modern. So Ravager's a super cool card in the cube, very, very fun. Cool sacrifice stuff happening, cool modular stuff happening. Ravager's great. Not every deck wants it, but it is there. It is there. No Tempered Steel, but there are plenty of other things like Cranial Plating and so on and so forth. So we got Arcbound Ravager, which is super cool. Our next card isn't really a card as much as it is a draft effector card. So we have Lore Seeker. Conspiracy was a set that came out that affected how you draft, and we have a few cards like that in this cube. Lore Seeker is a 2/2 for 2. That part doesn't matter as much as it matters that when you draft this card, you add a booster pack to the draft. It's pretty fun. Pretty fun card. A little bit of a logistic pain in the ass, but it's fun. I've enjoyed this card so far. And then honestly, this card's been cast more times than I like to admit, because if you need a bear for your deck, it's a bear. And it's an artifact creature also for the artifact deck, which is kind of cool. So if your artifact deck is like dying for one more artifact creature, you can play this card. And then it's also just a fun card to draft too. So you had a booster of cube cards. A booster of cube cards. It is not the best card in the cube, but it is a fun card. It's a fun card. I actually used to have the Conspiracies, which are cards that you draft them and they affect the game. So there's one Conspiracy that's like you always play first. It was way too good. They were like Power 9 problem, where like if you ever opened that Conspiracy, you took it over everything. So I cut those. So yeah, we got Lore Seeker. No Booster Tutor. That one used to be in the cube, but it's kind of a pain in the ass to have to keep like opening up the cube, pulling out cards, opening up the cube, pulling out cards. This is in the cube draft when the cards are already out. But once you're like playing the games, I think Booster is kind of annoying, honestly. So yeah, the double hand Conspiracy is busted. There was a Conspiracy where every game you draw 2 7-card opening hands and just keep one of them and shuffle them back. Just broken. Just totally broken. So we get Revoker here, which is obviously a fine card we see in most cubes. Also cool, it's an artifact in my cube, which is nice. We got Scrounger, which is another solid card. It's also an artifact, which is great. It's good to have these cards that are artifacts that are also just like fine cards by themselves. They don't need to be all Ginger Brute stuff like that. So Scrounger's obviously pretty solid. Smuggler's Copter, a card that I love and is, I think a little underplayed in Modern on average, but very fun card, great synergy card. Obviously, we've seen this card, banned in multiple formats. Just so good. Aggressive, it's an artifact, it's a good graveyard card. It's good basically everything. It's a super fun synergy card. I love seeing Copter in the cube. Really, really fun. All about Smuggler's Copter. I'm all about it. Up next, we have Spellskite. Same idea, just solid card. Doesn't need anything crazy to be good. Good artifact card. Reasonable. Yeah, Copter's so good. Now we have Steel Overseer. Again, if we're going to have these artifact cards in the cube, we got to have payoffs. So there aren't a million payoffs for the artifact aggro deck, but there's, Cranial Plating, Steel Overseer, Arcbound Ravager. The cards are there for it. The cards are there for building the artifact aggro deck if you want to try and do that. And then again, some decks don't want this card. So again, I keep saying it, but having Steel Overseer go last in your draft because no one was the artifact aggro deck is a feature, not a bug. That's fine. The cube experience is much better when people want certain cards and don't want certain card. So yeah, it's a Pro Tour stamp from some Pro Tour played and whatever. Vault cards, same idea, just an artifact aggro card. Cool equipment and stuff like that too, so just fine. We got another conspiracy card here in Deal Broker, one of the more silly ones. As a card, it's a 3-mana 2/3 looter, which is honestly not that bad. But at the end of a draft, you can reveal a card from your pool, and each player can offer you one card to trade for that card. So you first picked that, Recurring Nightmare, ended up not playing it. Well, now you can offer it up to the table, which is kind of fun. It's kind of a fun card. It's pretty cool. And then this card's also just not that bad to cast if you're dying for a looter. So kind of a fun card. It's pretty cool. Edge Champion, another artifact payoff. Super solid card. Edge Champion. We got Metalworker, which is a classic. So Metalworker is more of your classic kind of mana ramp artifact card. So there are plenty of those too. So some artifact cards ramp, some artifact cards are aggressive. And the goal is to have both, which is kind of cool. So that's that. We got Porcelain Legionnaire, again, not in white, just in colorless. Good aggro card in any color. Kind of card where you'll play this card anyway sometimes, and the fact that it's an artifact's almost a bonus. So, super solid card. Our last conspiracy card is the Cogwork Librarian, which is kind of a cool card. So you draft this card face up, and you hold on to it, and whenever you want to, you can put it back into a booster pack and take 2 cards. So, very fun card. Gets passed around a lot. It's cool. Super cool card. We got Lodestone Golem, which is a great card in general, and even better in my cube. There's so much artifact support, so super awesome card. Again, this is sort of like your Nether Void for artifact decks, your Thalia or whatever. It's great. We got Solemn Simulacrum, which looks a little weird in the old border, I'm not going to lie. The art is definitely really, really set for the new border, but great card. Kind of cool. We got a new one here in Golos, and this is a card that I've been extremely impressed with in Cube. As an artifact ramp card, it's super cool. It's a fun payoff for being 5 colors, sometimes, not always. And then it's also just like a mini prime time, where if you have a Field of the Dead in your deck, if you have a Maze of Ith, a Tabernacle, some sort of cool land you want to get, Tolarian Academy, this can go find that for a very reasonable cost and for a good body. So I have loved Golos in the Cube. Loved it. Super cool card. Whether you're activating it or not, just the ability to go find a cool land and put a good body in play is really, really cool. I'm a huge fan of this card. Huge fan of it. I love it. And the 5 card thing's fun too, honestly. The 5 card thing's pretty fun too. So that's pretty sweet. We got Precursor Golem, which is an awesome card. For those who aren't familiar with this card. It comes into play and makes 2 3/3 tokens. And whenever you target, or whenever anyone casts an instant or sorcery that targets a golem, it targets all of them. So if your opponent has Lightning Helix, this card sucks. They will kill all your things and gain lion life. But if they don't, it's 9 power for 5 mana over 3 bodies. You can ramp it out. And then there are things like Team of Battle Rage, Reckless Charge, and so on and so forth in the cube that you can copy with this. That's super cool as well. Really, really fun card. High power level. It's exciting. It's swingy. Really, really cool card. Blossoming Defense, sure. Yeah, I love this card. Super fun card. Super cool card. It's just a lot of power, too. Like, you can cast this on turn 3 or 4 with ramp, and just 9 power in play. It's like, holy crap. That's a lot of power. So, super. Sorry. Super cool card. Super cool card. Precursor Golem. We got Wormcoil, obviously. Super great card. And just very, very powerful. Not every card is going to be, super exciting. Super cool. So, how you draft my cube, people are asking in chat. If you have 8 players, you draft 3 packs of 15. If you have 6 players, you do 4 packs of 11. If you have 4 players, you do 5 packs of 9. And that spreads things out a little better. So, Defiant Strike on the Golems, awesome. Yeah, that's really, really cool too. Really, really cool. We got Mirror Battle Ball here in Mirror Battlesphere, very powerful card. One of the top Tinker targets, good renovation target. Also very castable too. Solid card. Solid card. We got Sundering Titan, the one real good Tinker target in the cube. And also great renovation card. Just very, very powerful card. Very, very powerful card. Thanks for following, Ryan. If you haven't followed, share that follow button. Of course, watching on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. If you missed any of this stream, it'll all be on my YouTube. And I'm also going to do some article content on this cube as well. So, no problem, y'all. Sorry I didn't get to it sooner. There's Thunder Titan. And then we got the Emrakuls here. We got Emrakul, the Promised End. And I think this card is very, very fun. It's definitely a card you can reanimate or sneak attack or whatever, or show and tell. It's just really, really big. But I think it's pretty fun too. Maybe it might not be if it gets repetitive, but it's a pretty cool card. Pretty cool build around. Pretty cool finisher. It's cool. It's cool. Yes, Ball Citadel is also very good. Yes, I mentioned that one in black. And then we have Emrakul proper. And John helped me to sort the cube for this stream. And he was like, oh, it's Emrakul. Of course, Emrakul. This is the only Eldrazi in the cube that has Annihilator. So the Magic On cube usually has like every Eldrazi ever printed. I think that sucks. It's not fun if you can just easily get one every time. So if you want Emrakul, you gotta freaking take Emrakul. You gotta first pick this card for your show and tell deck or whatever. So Emrakul is super awesome. And then we have the two double Xers here in Hangerback Walker, which is a very good card. It's also good in sacrifice decks. And we have Walking Ballista, which is obviously good just in mana decks that can cast it. All right, so that's your creatures. All right, moving on. We're gonna move on to the non-creature cards. We have the creature cards. Next up is our non-creature artifacts. Looks like they're showing planeswalkers on this thing, so we'll do walkers first. Sure, we can do walkers. Sorting the color selection is tough because like there's so many different things. But so you have three colorless planeswalkers. Our first one here is Karn, Scion of Urza, which is a fine card in general, but a great payoff for the artifact deck, making Karn Struck tokens. So, just solid planeswalker, solid artifact payoff card. No Heliod. I'm not a huge fan of 2-card combos. No Splinter Twin, and no Heliod, Walking Ballista, etc., etc. So, and yeah, Karn's cool artifact payoff. We have Karn proper. We have Karn Liberated, and obviously a very powerful card. You know, just mana right into Karn is certainly a strategy, but yeah, it's a thing. And we got Ugin. Ugin's Ugin. It's really good. I could almost see removing Ugin just because it's not fun. It's just like you cast it, win the game, but you gotta have payoffs. What's up, Fuller? How's it going, bud? When we cubing? I'm cubing right now. I mean, we cube on Sunday. Rex Ages in green, yes. And then, do I use cube majigs? Those are like the cube pack things. I don't understand those. It's a waste of time. And Corvold is kind of cool, but it's not in my cube. I think it could be in a cube. It's a very powerful card. So now we're gonna move on to our colorless cards here, which are the artifacts and equipments and so on and so forth. And first up is the classic here in Cursed Scroll. And this card was obviously insanely powerful back in the day. Not as good now. But still a very good card. Good for the artifact aggro decks. Good in your mono red decks. Solid recursive course of damage. And then the thing is that, like, because the artifact aggro decks and the artifact E decks just want artifacts in play for synergies, just having an artifact you play on turn 1 is kind of good. So Cursed Scroll is great. I like Cursed Scroll a lot. Expedition Map's a huge one. I get a lot of cool land stuff in my cube. No Tron lands, unfortunately, but you know, there's Chalarian Academy and Tabernacle and so on and so forth. And Map's great for that. Again, another cog card, another kind of card that is a card that makes your deck into a deck and not just a pile of cards. I'm all about it. I'm all about Expedition Map. It's a great card for the cube. And we got top here, just a good card. Obviously a little slow, but just good card. Good for combo decks too. You can use this with Experimental Frenzy or Bolus Citadel. Keep putting it on top and recasting it, which is kind of cool. Obviously just a good card. You know, got top. We got Skull Clamp, and Skull Clamp is the kind of card that underwhelms people in some cubes because they play it in their aggro deck and they start sacrificing their Savannah Lions and they just lose because they don't have any board presence. Skull Clamp is very, very good in my cube. Very, very good. Bloodghast It's insanely good in the black decks, Bitter Blossom, Bloodghast, Gravecrawler, etc., etc. And just an absolutely busted card. Absolutely busted card, but you got to use it right. And again, that's sort of the theme of the entire cube, is that power is okay as long as it requires some skill to use. So again, no Black Lotus, no Mana Drain, no Channel. These cards are too easy to use, too powerful and too swingy. But cards that are powerful are still okay. So Oath of the Druids, Skull Clamp, and so on and so forth is very, very reasonable. And I went over Harvest of Power in the cube earlier. I don't like cards that are super swingy with no real effort involved. Also, power sucks because, like, I'm playing a black Bloodghast Sacrifice deck. I open up Skull Clamp that I really want, and a Lotus. I just have to take Lotus, which sucks. So, we got Ankh Mishra here. Super cool card for the aggro decks. Again, a lot of cards like this in the cube that are, you know, kind of like these reach cards for aggro decks. Zozu on an artifact. Just a powerful aggro card. If you're an aggro deck, just a really powerful card, honestly. And obviously even better in the artifact aggro deck because you're just playing an artifact too. We got Cranial Plating, one of the big payoffs for being an artifact aggro deck. Discussed this already. One of the bigger payoffs, obviously, which is great. We got Heart of Kieran, and one of two vehicles in the cube. Obviously, we saw Smuggler's Copter. Why was Copter in the creature section? I don't know, but it was. But whatever. And then Heart of Kieran here, same idea. It's a vehicle. There are a decent number of planeswalkers in the cube now, so you can definitely like use it with planeswalkers or just crew with other stuff. A card that's a little iffy. I'm not sure if this card is like good enough or if juice is worth the squeeze, but it's a powerful card. It's a card that I like. It's a good artifact. Kind of a questionable one. We'll see. You know, more resources necessary on that one. Our next card is really, really fun. This is a card that's been in my cube for a long time. We have Helm of Awakening, which is a very powerful, if somewhat risky, combo enabler. Somewhat similar to Heartbeat of Spring. So this makes all spells cost 1 less. Not just your spells, but also your opponent's spells. So it's kind of like a Sapphire Medallion, but a little riskier, but a little more flexible. So for combo decks, this is a huge card. This makes your Chromatic Spheres cost 0, your Seething Song costs 2, your Manamorphose cost 1, etc., etc. Makes going off much, much easier, but it's obviously risky because your opponent gets to use it too. So, but very, very fun card, very powerful in combo decks, great combo support card. Combo is definitely supported in my cube. Storm is supported, other combo decks are supported, and cards like this make that happen. Super card. Yeah, with Frenzy in play at the top, you can cast infinite spells, sure. It's just a powerful card. I love cards like this in the cube that you look at it and you go, what am I going to do with this? You know, and that's the kind of card that I like in cube a lot. Island to go, reset, thanks so much. Thanks, Alan, appreciate it. So yeah, so Helm is all super cool card. And then as a counterpoint to Helm, we have Sphere Resistance. And I have had game states in my cube where one player had Sphere Resistance in play and one player had Helm Awakening in play. And it's pretty funny. Obviously, they're exact opposite cards. If you're an aggro deck and you're looking to lock your opponent out with Armageddon kind of effects, Spheres are very good for that too. If all your cards cost 1, you play a couple 1-drops and play a Sphere and go nuts, which is awesome. So very powerful card, very fun card. Again, a lot of pressure in my cube to do something because you will get locked out by cards like this pretty aggressively. So you can get locked out by cards. You got Winter Ward, the classic lockout card. You can break a synergy of this with artifacts and stuff like that, which is really cool. This is like the Armageddon for the artifact aggro deck. You have some artifact mana and some aggressive stuff. Play Winter Ward where you just crush your opponent. Very powerful card. Very powerful card, which is kind of cool. We got Crucible of Worlds. Good card for the lands deck, obviously. Where's Aether Vial? Sorry, folks. Same with the mana. I skipped Aether Vial, whatever. It's got Crucible of Worlds. Which is a good land card, obviously. Kind of like, locked in with Strip Mine. Wasteland is like a, thing to do there. But, it was Urza Saga, other cool things you can do with Crucible of Worlds. It's kind of a cool land card. I missed Aether Vial. Vial's a kind of hard card to use. I think that both Imperial Recruiter and Recruiter the Guard and Ranger Captain of Eos help this card. Vial's a hard card to use in a cube. It's hard to have the proper amount of card draw and stuff like that in curve, but it's still a very powerful card. So, still goes in the cube, and still a cool one, obviously. We got Dismember in the Colorless section. This is in the black section for a long time for me, but I'm trying it out in the colorless section to see how it feels. It's obviously a lot better in a black deck because you can cast it if you need to, but yeah, dismember honestly. We got another artifact payoff card here in Nettle Cyst, which is a very powerful new card someone was asking about, and great payoff. Very, very powerful card. Excellent payoff for being artifacts. Pumping the squad or pumping a creature. It comes in as a creature for itself. It's card advantage, which is great. Yeah, like this card a lot. Great payoff for the artifact deck. Again, we'll see in the lands. It's artifact lands. Artifact deck is very, very supportive in my cube. You can be the artifact deck for sure. It's almost like a 6 color. Almost like a 6 color. We got equipments here. We got only 2 swords in the cube. I don't like the swords for protection. I think it's pretty frustrating to be playing Golgari and your opponent's like, Sword of Feast and Famine, and you're like, okay. But there are 2 swords because they have good abilities. So Sword of Feast and Famine is obviously one of the best swords. Deals damage, you untap, and they discard. Also, green and black are 2 colors that are very good at killing creatures and artifacts. So it doesn't feel as bad. You know, they can deal with it if they're playing green or black. And just a really fun card. It makes Stoneforge great. Just a good card to have on flyers, stuff like that. Other sword we have is Sword of Fire and Ice, probably the best sword. Sword's great. Sword's great. Obviously, red has shatters and removal spells as well, but sword's obviously really, really cool. Again, these cards are in more for the abilities they do than the protection. I really don't like protection in cube in general, but I'm making an exception for these 2 cards because they're cool. Up next is the best card of the entire cube. It's Tangle Wire. I love Tangle Wire. If you watched my my holiday cube charity run last holidays, I had Tangle Wire in almost every draft. Everyone's like, "Is that card good?" And they watch me crush everyone with it. I love Tangle Wire. Love it, love it, love it, love it. And Tangle Wire is a huge card in my cube because the cube is very aggressive, has a lot of cheap creatures, and Tangle Wire is a knockout blow. It's also even better in the artifact aggro deck because you can tap all your crappy artifacts too. I love this card. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Just love it. I got nothing else to say. I wish cards were modern. I love Tangle Wire. GT is in the cube. Did I lose it? Am I just like losing cards here? What am I doing here? Did I miss it? What's going on? This card's not should be in here either. I'm mixed up, folks. The artifact section is weird because like I try to sort it into different things, like mana and not mana, you know, and things get mixed up a little bit. So I apologize for that. Give me 1 second here. It's gone. Where's GT? So it's Nicole sorted the cube. I'm blaming her. Is she here? She's not here, I guess. I don't know where it is. It should be in the cube. It's on the list. Yeah. So I guess we'll try and find that. But yeah. Did I try looking under JIT? Yeah. I love the music. The music stopped. Also, it's like, oh my god. Oh my god, it's gone. All right, so we got Bone Splitter here. I don't know what to order as far as mana costs go, but deal with it. All right, deal with it. Bone Splitter, solid. I think that's a really solid card. Very similar to Rancor, just like a good card for aggro decks. It's an artifact. It's an equipment, which is kind of nice too. So, just a solid card. We got Mishra's Bauble here. I mean, if you're a modern player, no explanation is necessary. Obviously, very, very powerful card. Very good synergy card. Same idea as a lot of the synergy cards in my cube, where it's a nuts and bolts kind of card. Make sure the card's better. Inceptor's still in the cube? It's still in the cube. All right, I thought I cut this card, but Scepter's still here. Scepter's still here. So this card, with Fire Ice not being able to be imprinted on anymore, obviously Scepter's a little worse now. But it's a classic old card. It's probably not good enough anymore, but it's the cool card. I don't know. It should probably get cut, but I actually didn't realize it was still in anymore. But we got Maze Mind Tome, awesome new card, great artifact for control decks. I like this card a lot. Good on power level, good for draw decks. Just a great card. Great card. We got Scroll Rack here. Another card that's kind of bad, honestly. You know what? I'm gonna cut Scroll Rack and Scepter right now. Give me a second. I'll cut it later. But Scroll Rack and Scepter out of the cube. Get out of here. Scroll Rack and Scepter.
Get off my plane.
They're not good enough anymore. They're relics of a bygone era. They're gone. I'm sorry to all your live editing. You know, whenever, screw it, we'll do it live, etc., etc. Sorry, Scroll Rack. Sorry, sorry, you're just not good enough. Up next is Coercive Portal, and kind of a weird conspiracy card. Essentially, this is a 4-mana personal Howling Mod. You just 4 mana, draw 2 cards a turn, because in a 2-player game, you know, no player will choose Carnage if they want to. So, just 4 mana Howling Mod, cool artifact card for your artifact deck. Another cool card here is Mystic Forge. This one's awesome. New card, really, really good in artifact decks. Just super, super awesome card. Just Frenzy for artifacts, and it's a really good one. Very good payoff. The goal is to have good payoffs like this for playing artifacts. Like, why do I want artifacts in my deck? Well, this is why. This is why. Another classic here in Smokestack. I freaking love this card. Similar to Tangle Wire, kind of like your classic old prison card, which is super cool. Very, very good in the black decks, so like Bitter Blossom, Bloodghast, and so on and so forth. Just a great card. Great card. Sword of Hearth and Home. I'm not big on that card. I don't like the swords unless they're like, you know, really, really powerful in the effects and like nostalgic and stuff too. And we got a few artifacts left here. We got Batterskull. Obviously just a classic equipment. Fine by itself, but also things. Braids, yes. The cube list is available on the command. So. It's my arm. Cool. We got Memory Jar, which is a classic. Look at this freaking card. Chewed up. But great combo card. Just draw 7. Colorless, draw 7, super powerful. Whether you're dumping your hand for the artifact stuff in Tolarian Academy, whether you're playing Storm, playing Narset, just a really, really powerful card. Memory Jar is great. We got Mindslaver, because it's a really fun card. It's honestly not super powerful, honestly, but it's just a really fun card. Mindslaver is great. Academy's in the cube for Mindslaver Lock, which is fun. It's a fun classic card, also super beat up. These old cards have been cast so many times. It's awesome. And then our last non-mana artifact is Engineered Explosives, which is a great card, obviously. Also just beat to shit, which is awesome. So, Explosives. And then our last part of our artifact section here is going to be the mana rocks. So I try and separate artifacts into 3 things: creatures, artifacts, and then mana. So now, once again, there's no proper Moxen in my cube, and there's no Lotuses in my cube. Alright, so all of the artifact mana comes at some cost one way or another. Whether it's a card in your hand, like Chromox, a card's banned in Modern, but good card for combo decks. Just good card in general. A little hard to use. You can't just like put it in your deck. But if you're playing like Dark Confidant or some ways to get the cards back, it can be really, really good. So, like Chromox a lot. You also have same vein, we have Lotus Petal. Again, very good for combo decks and okay otherwise. More of a combo card than anything else. Lotus Petal is great. We got Mox Diamond. Great for lands decks, great with Life from Malone. Just good in general, honestly. It's just a super solid card. Again, all at a cost here, all at a cost. We have Mox Opal. Perhaps one of the best ones, honestly, because it's a strong artifact theme in my cube. Mox Opal is really freaking good. It's banned in Modern for a reason, you know? Really, really good card. And then we have some cool ones. We have a Lion's Eye Diamond. It's a proxy, but Lion's Eye Diamond. This is a pure combo card. And if you're playing Yawgmoth's Will, you know, Time Twister, whatever it is, hard card to use, but it can be a very important piece to the combo deck. So, Lion's Eye Diamond, super cool card. Super cool card. Then we have a real cool one here that I bet you almost none of you have ever even heard of before. Are you ready for this one? We've got Jeweled Amulet. Alright? It's a 0-mana artifact. It has a million words on it. But basically what it does is you spend a mana into Jeweled Amulet, and it adds a counter of that mana to it. Then you can tap to remove that counter and make that kind of mana. So basically it just stores a mana for 1 turn. It stores the exact same type of mana and can only store 1 mana. So if you tap a Snow Island, it'll make a Snow Blue. But it's a super, super cool card. Allows you to cast, you know, whatever, 3 drops on turn 2. It's sort of like a weird artifact, Birds of Paradise. Super cool card. I saw this one in Ryan Sachs's cube. I love it. It's great for the cube. It's a super fun card. It's great. It's super, super cool. Like it a lot. There's a cost to it, but I like it a lot. It's really, really cool. So Jeweled Amulet. And for some reason, Welding Jar is in with the mana because things got mixed up again. Again, artifact card, cheap card, 0 cost card. Just good in your artifact deck, whatever. Oopsie. I guess Astrolabe is also not technically a mana rock, but Astrolabe is the only snow card in the cube, and in my cube, all the basic lands are snow. They aren't actually snow yet. I haven't bought snow lands. I probably won't, but it's just an errata of it. All the lands in my cube are snow, so Astrolabe's obviously great. So I know we're going to a little disjointed in this section. I apologize for that, but deal with it. Everflung Joust, fine mana rock. Nothing too crazy there. And then we have, let's see. Then we have 2 cards in my cube that I think really define my entire cube experience. All right. This is what makes my cube different than the Magic Online cube and most other players' cubes. And that is Chromatic Sphere and Chromatic Star. Now, these cards have won multiple Pro Tours, multiple tournaments. They are tournament staples, okay? These are the cards that are the kind of nuts and bolts glue cards that help turn turn piles of cards into decks. So maybe you're playing a Storm deck, and you need some more Storm triggers for your Chromatic Sphere. Maybe you're playing a Braids deck. I want to sacrifice Chromatic Star to your Braids. Maybe you're playing, whatever, an artifact deck needs more artifacts. You're maybe just playing a deck that needs more colors. Want to get cards in the graveyard? Sure. So these kind of cards, you never see these in the Magic Online cubes because they're just not flashy. But these are the cards that make a deck into your deck. I love both these cards. They're great in cube. You just end up drafting a deck, and you're like, oh, yeah, this card would be great in my deck. I want to get a prowess trigger. I want to get a card in the graveyard. I want to get an artifact in play. I want to get a, whatever it is, my storm count up. Whatever it is, So Sphere and Star both make it. And then, of course, Star is the extra bonus of being able to be sacrificed to Smokestack or whatever it is to draw a card. Greater Gargadon, which is kind of cool as well. If you were going to only add one of these, you would add Star. But I think having both is great. Love these cards. They've been in my cube forever. I feel like when I add these cards to my cube was the point where I leveled up as a cube designer. And I started making a cube that was, really, really based on making decks. And it started to feel less like a bunch of cool planeswalkers and cards from the last 20 years and started feeling like I'm building a deck. I have to draft a deck. I want to have a deck that doesn't. I have a goal in mind. I'm trying to build this deck to do something. And these cards are great. Just absolutely great. Love it. So I got Monolith. Nothing crazy here. Just, good mana ramp. Good mana ramp. Ingram Monolith. We got Mind Stone. Another good mana ramp card. Again, there are some talismans in the cube. There are a couple mana rocks like this also. Not an absurd amount of mana rocks, but you got Mind Stone. And then you go up the curve here. You've got the Collision Relic at 3. Obviously, great card. We have Worn Power Stone, the Fixed Soul Ring. So there's plenty. There's definitely artifact ramp in the cube for sure. We got Thran Dynamo. All these cards do the same thing. So Thran Dynamo, and then we have, and then we have Colorless, and that is the entire artifact section. Apologize for the hiccups there. I might actually end up cutting one more card because right now we're at 76 Colorless cards. But again, the Colorless section doesn't really need to be any certain number because they're just Colorless cards. They don't need to be like against anything else. No Soul Ring, no. So once again, if you missed it, there's no Power of this cube, no Soul Ring, no Black Lotus. There's no card in the cube where you would just take it over anything else, regardless of what's in the pack. Where I'm drafting Survival of the Fittest and I open a Recurring Nightmare, but there's a Soul Ring and I have to take Soul Ring. No super stupid swinging cards in the cube. That is the idea. Oko's in the cube, but again, Oko's not like that. Oko's a card that costs blue and green mana. So that's the Colorless cards. All right, we got one section left. It's the lands. Lands is also very interesting in my cube. You will see why once we get to it. There are a lot of lands in my cube. There are over 100 lands in my cube, more than most cubes, and we'll explain why in the next section. Mana Crypt is way too strong. Yeah, way too strong. No, you shouldn't be casting a 4-drop on turn 2. End of story. All right, so YouTube folks, I love you. Like, comment, subscribe. We got lands are coming up next.